3 tips I wish I knew as a freshman coming from a senior. Tip number 1, you need a friend group for high school. I see so many people sitting in the hallways alone at lunch, eating on the floor, and you may be thinking, oh, how do you know that they're not enjoying it? Because I've been like that before. Some days all my friends were away from school, so I had to eat alone. And let me tell you, it sucks having to eat alone. So if you think that you're going to be some kind of Sigma, Ohio, quiet kid eating alone, come back to me in about a week and tell me how it feels. What I recommend that you do is that you take your 2 to 3 closest friends from middle school and stick with them to high school. Then you join their friend groups. But if you have no friends, like none at all, don't worry, I still got you. What you do on your first day as a freshman, you go to your classes, sit next to whoever you want to be friends with, say hi, you ask them for their name, and then you give them a fist bump. So basically you sit down, hi, how's it going? What's your name? Oh, blah, blah, blah. My name's Nick. Nice to meet you. Boom, fist bump. I don't think anybody else knows about this trick, and it works really well. There was a guy in one of my freshman classes who I've never seen before, and after doing that little fist bump method with him, we became really, really good buddies. You know, dapping each other up in the hallways, stuff like that. So it works. Tip number 2 is going to be to take academics seriously. One of my teachers gave me some advice that I'm going to pass on to you. If you give your baseline effort, right? So imagine your baseline effort is like you're just average, you know, coming to class, doing the work and stuff like that. If you give that in your freshman year, you'll get about an 80, right? If you give that same exact level of effort in your next year of high school, you're going to get a 70. And in your next year, you're going to get a 60. So you see, it drops your percentages down, even though you're putting in the same effort, because the work gets harder. It's not like middle school anymore. You have to start making the deadlines. In grade 10, I just showed up to classes, did the work, did occasional homework, barely studied. Actually, no, to be honest, I didn't even study at all. And I still made the honor roll. If you don't know what the honor roll is, it's basically like the valedictorian. And I'm not saying this to brag or anything. I'm just saying that it's so easy to actually do good in high school if you just put a little bit of effort into the classes and just don't goof around. And tip number 3 is going to be don't get caught lacking. This isn't middle school anymore. People are going to be less forgiving and situations are going to be less forgiving. You know that thing that all people do in middle school where they take each other's hats and like items and stuff like that and they like hold it above their head like, oh, you can't get it, stuff like that. Like they take phones and stuff. My friend had a friend who did that to somebody and they nearly got beat up because of it. Over taking a hat, somebody nearly got jumped. Do you understand how serious that is? Another time, my friends and I were goofing around before school in the parking lot when my friend started telling off the seniors who were there. And you could tell that these seniors were kind of like gangsters, right? So a few minutes go by, nothing happens, and then I turn around and I see a whole crowd of them around us. And they start like pressing us like, yo bro, what's your issue? What's your issue? All of that, they got their entire gang rallied up over my friend telling them to pick up their litter. I'm not joking, that's what it was. One of them threw a piece of garbage, my friend told them to pick it up, and they got their whole gang pressed over that. One final story before I end the episode, and I hope that this really drives home to some people, is that one time I was on the bus playing games, and my friend taps me on the shoulder, and I say, no, not now, because I was in the middle of a game. He taps me again and he says like, look back, there's something you should see. So I'm like, oh my God, what is it? I look back, and there was a guy standing over a guy on a seat, and the guy standing up had a knife to the sitting guy's throat, like this. Wallah, I'm not joking. And you want to know what the guy was threatening the guy for? It wasn't for money. It wasn't for drugs. Blueberries. The guy was throwing blueberries at somebody. So the guy decided to go and threaten him with a knife to the throat. So please do not get caught lacking like that. This isn't a game anymore. This is almost real life. Like you got 3 to 4 more years before you're actually going to college and getting a job. It is time to lock in. So to recap, tip number 1, find a friend group. Tip number 2, focus on your academics. And number 3, don't get caught lacking. If you've never had a job before, click right here to watch this video. I give some really good advice that nobody else is talking about. And if you struggle with urgency and procrastination, click here to watch this video. Consider checking out my channel and subscribing. I post weekly and I'm sure there's something you love. That's all for this video. See you soon.